What is going on, you guys? It's Extreme here, and I hope you guys are going to enjoy the brand new Road to Nowhere podcast. Now, I'm not going to restart the episode count. We are on episode 25, but this is the new show. And yes, for those of you on YouTube, this is my ugly mug. Hi, how's it going? Long time no see, as in ever. But yeah, so I hope you guys are having a good day. This episode was filmed on January 26th of 2022, and it was filmed live on Twitch. Now, if you guys want to watch me or JimmyG, we'll talk more about him a little bit in the episode. But if you guys want to follow us on Twitch, Jimmy has a Facebook. He has a YouTube account. Links will be down in the description below. I don't know if I'll have his link for the YouTube, but if it is there, it's there. If it's not, sorry, Jimmy. Anywho, I hope you guys will enjoy this week's episode. We literally go all over the place. Seriously. But I hope you guys enjoy, and I will be back at the end of the show with a quick little wrap-up just because I can. We are live. And tonight's episode is starting a lot later than it should, but yeah. Let me go ahead and undeafen Jimmy here in Discord. All right. Hey, how's it going?
What's going on? Give me one moment. I'm trying to get the podcast up on my Facebook because I'm not streaming to Facebook. I'm only streaming on Twitch today with it.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I also have to change the stuff for the stream. Oh boy. Streaming.
My goodness.
I went live with like everything all messed up. And unfortunately I just moved in my chair again, so whoops.
Whatever.
Hopefully it comes up. Okay.
All right. So there's Extreme there. We got it going. So right now we're flying through a helicopter ride, having a good old time, looking at the city of San Diego on my stream anyway. On Extremes, he's got a little different. His is to be filtered and built up next time later. Yeah. So what's on the agenda today, Extreme? What do we got going on?
Honestly, I didn't have a full plan for this episode. I kind of figured we'd just sit and wing it like we pretty much did last week.
But we didn't though. Last week we
had
actually had a plan.
We had one topic, and that was it. And then everything else was 100% us just shooting the you know what, and
the breeze.
Yeah, shooting the breeze. There you go. Totally got distracted on that one. I'm also trying to make sure everything's the way it's supposed to be. Yeah, everything's
nice.
good. We're good.
All right. Well, like I said, I don't know what the agenda was today. All I knew is that we were going to do the podcast today. And because everything was so messed up last time, we can even go over the same stuff this time if you wanted to. That's your choice.
Well, that actually sounds like a good idea. So, first of all, since this is going to go on YouTube, and last week's episode is staying on Twitch because somebody, not pointing fingers, completely screwed up the whole freaking thing.
Who screwed it up? Was it me?
I don't know who it was. I don't know who it was.
It could have been this guy.
But yeah, no. So last week we did the stream and we recorded it. Well, we did the podcast, but I didn't get to introduce you guys to JimmyG. I've known Jimmy for dude, it's at least 20 plus years now, like 22 years or something like that, right? We met.
I was gonna say I've been out of high school for over 20 years now, and we met I think when I had just graduated.
You graduated in '99, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so almost 23 years we've known each other.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, this guy's one of, if not my only true best friend.
Breast friend? I'm your breast friend.
Shut up.
I heard it.
Friend.
I heard it. If anybody out there who's listening heard it, I'm sure. Yeah, leave comments, man. Twitch is open. Twitch is wide open for comments, and that was prime real estate.
I'm gonna kick you. Anyways. But no, I've known this guy a long time, and he started streaming a little while ago. And when he started doing that, I thought, hey, I have the podcast. I mentioned it to him. He told me he wanted to do a podcast. So here we are. and this is
Yeah.
the future of this show, both on my channel and on Twitch, and their clips will be on Jimmy's channel. But yeah, this is the future of the show. It's me and Jimmy sitting every week. We're gonna film it live on Twitch. Usually, that's the plan. Every Wednesday.
Yep.
But sometimes, like in a few weeks, well, more like a month or so, I'm gonna be in San Diego, and so
Are
we
you?
might. Yeah, I have to go down there to take care of the storage locker that we have. It's a bad situation all around. And
Yeah, no doubt.
so
Coming
while we're
at you
there,
live in person.
yeah, it'd be cool to do that. So it's a good possibility that'll happen. I'm not saying for sure it's going to happen, but it's a very good possibility. I'm going to be there for like 4 or 5 days. So I doubt it's going to take us 5 days to go through the storage locker. So at some
Right.
point, yeah, and then we'll probably have Eric as the guest. Oh God, I'm already asking for trouble with that.
Nah, I like Eric.
No, I know you
Q-Tip
like
and I,
Eric,
you know,
but he has a mouth.
he's good banter.
And when he starts
We
talking,
haven't-
he's
we
gonna
also
get a
haven't had a
bug thrown off
chance.
Twitch.
We also haven't had a chance to go back and forth, him and I. Every single time something's come up, like the kids' birthdays or whatever, I always had to leave right before he got there because I had work.
Yeah.
Or like COVID time, I just felt really stupid, uncomfortable being at the park with like 150 people around, nobody wearing masks, my kids playing, and the, you know, I just my mental state was not correct. It wasn't right. You know what I mean? It really wasn't. It wasn't right. There's nothing more I can say than that.
Yeah, like
But,
I love my brother, but
yeah.
he's one of those individuals that fully subscribes to the philosophy of I don't give a shit. I mean, there's really no other way to put it. He really doesn't
Yeah.
give a crap. He's of the mentality of why do I need to wear a mask? I've already gotten COVID, which he never did find out for sure if he did or not. He's just assuming. So
Yeah. Well, I've had COVID 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
Um,
But you've been
the
vaccinated.
first time I ever had it,
right?
no. The first time I ever had it was before COVID was ever announced as a thing. And so
That's right. You told me about that.
I was sick from November of 2019 until February, maybe even longer. When did I think March, maybe February or March, when everybody shut down in 2020. In 2020,
End of March is when everyone shut down.
Okay, so I was sick from November. Yeah, okay, so I was sick from November until March when people like actually shut down the city. I was sick that whole time, and I'm pretty sure it was COVID. I work in the casino industry, so I'm open to the public, and you know everything that people have, and they don't, you know what I mean? Like it is what it is.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure that that's what got me COVID the first time around, and then Jill tested positive, and she was having symptoms the way that I did when I first got it.
Jill's his wife, by the way, for those of you watching my stream.
Right.
Just to clarify.
So she was having symptoms, so I went ahead and I got tested, and all I had was a cough. Like that's legit, just a cough.
You got lucky
And
on that one, then.
we both tested positive for COVID. And I think the only reason why mine was only a cough was because I got it so bad prior. You know, like I mean, I was sick November, December, January, February, 5 months. 5 months I was fucking sick.
Yeah.
And I was going to work every day because at that point, if you were sick, so what? You're sick. Go to fuck to work.
Yeah.
And I went to the doctor at least 6 times, which means I called out of work at least 6 times, which is either a write-up or termination, depending on your attendance issues. And I told the doctor, I said, make sure you put down the same reason. I'm here for the exact same thing every time. And he did, and they excused all of it. So I lucked out. However,
This is that
COVID still became a thing, and it got rid of everyone. Everybody started over, but you were still required to come to work if you felt fine.
Mm-hmm.
If you felt sick, don't come, period. No ifs, ands, or buts, do not come. But it's being held against you.
Yeah.
I'm coughing, I'm sniffling, whatever. So like it's just that I'm going to work. Nope, go home, and it's a point. I'm like, what?
So They actually, so from what I understand, when they first announced the shutdown, you weren't supposed to be able to, like, companies weren't supposed to be able to penalize you for going home. In
Right.
fact, a lot of companies were supposed to shut down. The fact that the casino was still open for a little while, that's a little, like, frustrating for me. I'm in Montana, but I'm still like, dude, why the fuck? You're
During
literally,
COVID time,
no one cared.
no, nobody cared. During
Yeah,
COVID time, the casino shut down for a month and a half and then reopened.
yeah.
Where the entire world shut down for 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, however long it was,
We
8 months.
were shut down for like 8 months, I think,
I mean,
because it didn't start opening up until about mid-November, like right before Thanksgiving is when things started to kind of start opening up. But ultimately, we were still like as a country at least, we were shut down till like mid-November. So
yeah. But the casino reopened in like a month and a half, 2 months. Like it was nothing. It's like, hey, whatever. People are going to come and spend their money. Government's giving everybody a bunch of money for free, so let's take it all.
yeah, that's why they opened up, because they did the stimulus and the casino was like, wait, what? Hold up, go back. You're gonna
Yeah,
give people money? Open.
yeah. Basically, like there's no guarantee to that, but basically,
I mean, yeah, but it's still like that's insane, dude.
Yeah. So last week we discussed the sell of Microsoft,
The purchase of
or the the sell of
Activision.
Microsoft,
The sale.
the
Yeah,
purchase.
yeah, that would be awesome. That I think would be world news. I think everybody
the
would be talking about that right now.
we discussed the purchase that Microsoft made. That's what it was. We
Yes,
discussed
we discussed
um,
the acquisition of Activision Blizzard
acquisition.
by Microsoft.
Yeah.
And I gotta
Um,
be honest, dude. Like, looking over some of the stuff that I've had a chance to look over, dude. Um,
all that
last
goes in
week
my brain is Tenacious D. Dude, I totally miss you.
so there was a lot of information we didn't have last week, and I've only seen bits and pieces of it. But right now, Microsoft has already determined that they are probably going to be bringing back old Activision staples in new incarnations. But they've also announced that Call of Duty will stay on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC for the foreseeable future. Um,
Yeah.
which
And
everyone
it
kind
only
of
makes
knew
sense.
everyone kind of knew that was going to happen. However, as far as the exclusivity arrangement with PlayStation for Call of Duty first content,
Mhm.
that apparently is still in effect for like another 2 years. So Microsoft has to honor that contract as per the deal. So that's
Yeah.
what I read, and I'm like, all right, well, that's cool. At least PlayStation will get Call of Duty for this year and next year, which is after that, I have a funny feeling Microsoft's going to go back on their statement about keeping Call of Duty on PlayStation, and it's going to end up exclusively on PC and Microsoft. They've been doing it, so I wouldn't blame them at this point. I really wouldn't. It just kind of sucks, but
Yeah.
but that's the thing. They've also said they're bringing back old classic games like I think it's Crash Bandicoot. I think I heard something about Spyro, which I don't know. I'm confused about all that, but yeah, there's a couple old games that haven't been touched in a long time. People want to see new versions of them, and so Microsoft's saying do it. So we might be seeing some of those old ass games coming back.
Yeah, that's cool to me because, I mean, if you really think about it, just the way that it is, it's like nobody's creative anymore. So
Not
those
really, no.
creative those creative juices that were flowing through somebody's brain in the 90s to the 2000s into, 2010, they've all imploded. You know what I
Pretty
mean? So
much.
like
I mean, there's
they're making everything old. There's no new concepts anymore.
there are
It's
some
almost
original
like
concepts, but there's nothing to the level it was back when we were kids, where you know Mario
well, think about it
that was
too. When we
brand new,
were
Sonic
kids,
was brand new.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. When we were kids, the stuff was out via cartoon, comic books, and
Yeah,
television, but there were no video games. Like Atari was the first game system, and it was out like created essentially when like just before I was born, if not the
yeah.
year I was born.
I think
You know what I
I
mean?
think Atari came out the year like either the year prior or the year that you were born, because you're
Exactly.
like a couple years younger than Kim. Like I think you're like
Kim?
Kim, my
How
girlfriend.
am I younger than Kim?
Kim's older than me by 3 years.
How old are you?
I'm 39.
Huh. Yeah, Kim's older than me.
Yep.
Dude,
She's
I
2 years
just
older than you.
space. I space because every life is what it is, right? And I never come across anybody who's really older than me unless they're clearly older than me anymore. It's
Yeah.
like I'm sure I come across people who are older than me, but it doesn't feel that way. I hang out with people who are either older than me
Yeah.
or they're younger than me. They're either 50 to 70 or they're 20. You know what I mean? There is no, hey, I'm 40. No, I'm 40.
I'll be 40 in a few
You guys
months.
you guys are old or young.
Pretty much.
I'm the middle ground.
I think
So-
me and Roy and maybe I think Matt are the
Roy's
only
older
people.
than me. Roy's like 72.
God, I hope he's watching. Anyway, no, but no, I mean, like, we're probably the closest in your age range, dude. Like, that was the same thing for me when I was working. It's like either they were younger than me or they were older than me, and there was no middle ground. So,
Yeah.
the same with when I first started playing Destiny. Everybody in my clan was either younger than me or I had one guy that was like a year older than me, and I'm like, dude, we're outnumbered 10-1. We're screwed. So, and that's honestly what happened a lot of times. The younger guys, like these kiddos, because they were kids, like
Kiddos.
they were,
kiddos.
dude, they were like 13, 14 years old. That's how old these guys
Yeah,
were.
I
They're
mean,
all
that-
like,
that
they're in their
tracks.
20s now. Now they're in their 20s. But back then, they were young as heck. And it's like, dude, I feel weird playing with a bunch of kids. But they were good guys. And I still talk to one or two of them still to this day.
Yeah.
One of them was actually one of my first subscribers on YouTube, Jeff. He's I haven't talked to him in a bit, but yeah, no, they were all good guys, and I do miss playing with them, but I don't miss all the PS and the goofiness that would come with playing with these guys. Because oh Lord,
Yeah.
and
'cause
this
they're
is
all
something.
kids.
This is one thing that I've talked about this in a previous video. I didn't give the full backstory about it, but I can now. I was sitting in a raid in Destiny with those guys, and we got to a point where someone had to go to the bathroom, so we took a break. While we're taking this break, the guys are just, shooting the breeze, going back and forth, and then one of them starts snickering out loud, like getting louder and louder, and I'm like, "What's so funny?" And he's all, "Oh, this thing so and so sent me." I don't want to say their names, so. But he's like, "Yeah, he sent me this thing, and it's funny as heck." And I'm like, "What is it?" So they send it to me. And it's a meme of the Twin Towers on 9/11 of one of them getting hit. And I'm like, I don't care what the words on the screen say. This isn't funny. And the fact that they found it funny, I'm like, man, your generation is all kinds of screwed up. But that's the thing. And it took me a while to come around to this. They grew up in an era where we were at war. Most of these kids weren't even born on 9/11.
Yeah.
So, or before 9/11. So they're all still kind of like coming to grips with the reality that they didn't have to live through that. They didn't have to live through the world, our country being shut down for like 2 days. There was no flights. There was no cars on the road. Dude, I remember leaving my house, because this is back when I lived in Linda Vista. I left the house, walked to the trolley station. The trolley wasn't running. The buses weren't running. Everything was shut down. I want to go get some damn food. And I'm with Eric. And we're just walking down the road, and it's barren. There's nobody driving except for the people that need to get somewhere. There's no planes in the sky. There's nothing. It was dead. Like 7-Eleven was closed, which I thought, holy crap, this is a much bigger deal than I thought it was if 7-Eleven is freaking closed. And because I was, like 18, 19 at the time? I hadn't been exposed to anything like this. I'd never experienced anything like this. Just like you. Like, you were, 20 years old at the time?
Yeah, I was working, and I was working on the Marine base. Like, I went to work that day.
Yeah.
Like, I watched it happen live on TV, the second tower, and then I went to the Marine Corps Air Base to go to work. and had the MPs go to the warehouse I was working at and literally throw people out.
And the thing is, as we're talking about this, I just want to point this out for those watching. I'm not trying to spin this in any kind of political way or anything like that. I'm just talking about my experience during that event, which brings me to the next thing I wanted to throw out, which was, where were you on May 1st? I think it's 2011 or 2012. I can't remember. No, it's 2011. Yeah, May 1st, 2011. Do you remember what that day stands for?
I don't.
That is the day SEAL teams got Osama.
Yeah.
Do you remember where you were when that announcement was made?
No, but I do remember watching like videos of his, I think it was beheading or hanging. His hanging.
That was Saddam.
Or Saddam?
That was
Okay, so
Saddam.
Bin Laden, I don't know.
Bin
Saddam
Laden
stuff
was
was more memorable than Bin Laden. But I know that Bin Laden stuff came through, and I know people who were in the military when that happened. It was more, I mean, it was more effective and heartfelt for them than it was for me, because by that point, I don't know, I think I was too just,
polarized by the whole thing.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like
I only remember
I had
where
so
I was
much hatred
'cause-
at that point in my life. It was so much hatred that it didn't, none of it mattered. People
Yeah.
didn't matter. Like things didn't matter.
I only remember it because, for two reasons. Have you ever seen the show The Newsroom? It was on HBO a couple years ago. Jeff Daniels was the lead. It's on HBO Max. I highly recommend check it out. But they do an episode on this day, like on that day, of what happened. Like the drama.
Okay.
It's a dramatization. It's not the actual day. But
This is not a dramatization. Not a dramatization.
anyways, but they did the show, and I started remembering where I was the day that happened. I was playing Call of Duty just maybe 10 minutes prior, and my ex-girlfriend calls me, and she's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I go, "Nothing." And she goes, "You should turn on the news." And this is back when I had my giant-ass projector in the downstairs room. And so
Right.
I turn it on, and I'm like, all right, what am I watching for? And she goes, I don't know, but something's going to be announced on the news, and I want to know what it is, and I'm at work. I can't watch it. And she worked in the medical field. That's all I'm going to say. But
Okay.
so she's at work, and I'm sitting there, and the next thing I know, they announce, before the president even walks out, they got him. They got Osama bin Laden. I'm like, wait, what? And my dad hears this, comes downstairs quietly, walks downstairs, stands behind me as the president goes over what just happened. And the president's speaking, and I'm just like, holy crap. And my dad started kind of tearing up a little, because my dad, as you know this, I don't know if my audience knows this, my dad was retired Navy, served for 20 some odd years, almost 30 years.
Right.
He was true blue, diehard American. Like, I've got relatives who served in the Civil War, World War I, World War II, Vietnam. My dad served in Vietnam, all that stuff. They've been in every major event that's happened up to 9/11. And I recently found out my cousin on my dad's side, he served it over there this last time, all that fun BS. But watching my dad tear up, watching that, made me realize the significance of the event more than I would have without that. Because even though I love this country, I love the United States, I love being a U.S. citizen, if I hear one more asshole tell me to go back to Mexico, I'm going to kick him in the balls because I'm not from there. But
Yeah.
it's like,
That's unfortunate that society really is that just stupid.
yeah, I've heard that phrase since I was 6 years old, dude, living in Navy housing. It's one of the worst things you can say to someone, especially someone that's Latino, because one, you might be talking to a Cuban you don't know, just FYI. And so
Right.
if you tell them to go back to Mexico, they're gonna look at you and be like, hell no, you dumbass. But
Yeah.
but I would hear it, and it always bothered me. But watching my dad on May 1st, 2011, and seeing him have a sense of peace, and everyone thought this meant that the war was going to come to an end. Obviously it didn't, but it was a big deal. And it was a bigger deal than I realized it was, and I wonder, looking back now, if any of those kids that I knew the importance of both 9/11 and May 1st and what, they meant for this country as a whole. No. And there's people our generation who don't know the full importance, which is kind of upsetting,
Yeah. No, like I understand the full importance and I know the full importance. But when it comes to physical days like getting Osama bin Laden, getting Saddam Hussein, getting all these tyrants from modern day stuff, I haven't focused on it because to me, having my brother in the military, having my dad in the military, my grandpa, it's been a generation, a family line of military, just like you. And my historical stuff when it came to events was all in class. It was all school. It was all history. It was all these are the things to remember. And it was zero relevance to me, zero relevance. So I didn't remember the days. I remember the events and I know the history behind it, but I don't remember the physical days that it happens.
Yeah.
Even now, I know that these things happened, but I don't remember what days they happened. 9/11, I remember specifically because 911.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's 911, 9/11, 2001. Like it was a day to remember. It really was.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Right? That to me had such a heartfelt thing because of several reasons. Where I was working, the fact that there were Middle Eastern people in my high school that always gave me a hard time, that wanted to fight, that kept talking trash to me, and they weren't even from the same area of the country or continent or area that this whole thing was, but they were Middle Eastern. So I already had a disdain in my mouth. So I knew the people and I knew the situation and I saw this happen. So now everything's just like I said, it's hatred. It's all hatred.
So yeah.
Times have gone. I've matured a lot. Things are different, but the disdain and hatred was real back then. So with all these dates and things happening, I'm like, I don't really care. They're not my problem.
No, I get you, dude.
It's not my bag, not my problem. This is what I remember because this was the big thing that happened. But somebody died because they did something negative to the United States. Good. I'm glad they died. F them. You know what I mean? Like that's just where my brain went.
No, I get you on that. Like I said, and that's why I've always wanted someone else here to do this with me, because that's your perspective on those events. Yeah. Mine is completely different, obviously.
Oh yeah.
But that's the thing and that's the one thing so many people get. I guess the word would be complacent on. They forget about it so easily that it's okay that you have a different feeling or opinion or thought process or how you process the events. So I did. I'm not going to sit here and guilt trip you. It's like, so what? You don't have the same impact that it had on me, and that's fine. My whole thing is I just want people to see that it's okay to have a different opinion and you can still be friends with people. You can still socialize. You can still have a civil conversation. It drives me nuts with the way everybody in our country acts right now. And this isn't political. This is just look at the facts. Look at the reality. People let one stupid thing. If you put Republican, Democrat, liberal, it doesn't matter what the Republican or Democrat. You put one of those on your name, on your card, if you will, and suddenly half the population hates you. And I'm like, why?
Yeah.
It means nothing. It really does. That's just your political views. Who you are as a person is not gauged by that.
Right. And another terrible thing when it comes to political views, too, is people who started off, say, Republican, switch over to Democrat and vice versa.
Yeah, I know.
And times back when Republican and Democrat really mattered, those political views really, really mattered, it was so different anyway that the parties themselves had different core values. They had different structure and different belief and different reason for different things. And time evolves, things change, life goes on. People within the party corrupt and they nitpick and pull and you know what I mean? Everything's different now.
Yeah.
And the title of anything is retarded. So like a person who's a skinhead, they shave their head bald and they hate people. Okay. Well, why are they a skinhead? Yeah, but why are they a skinhead? Well, that's what people call them because their head was shaved. Well, I got a shaved head. Does that make me a skinhead?
I've had a shaved head. I might have long hair now, but I've had a bald head.
Exactly. But does that make you a skinhead? No, it doesn't. It doesn't make any it is literally just
a hairstyle.
Yeah.
But there was a time where, and I know where you're going with this, there was a time where if you shaved your head and you were white, that was
You
the
were
immediate
racist.
immediate
Yeah.
association because of that. And it
Yeah.
sucks. And we grew up during that time. Like, that was a period we were both on this earth. And
Yep.
it was insane. And I'm sitting there, I didn't know who to trust personally. I very quickly learned that it's okay to trust a white man that's bald and not be afraid of him. I was
Mhm.
like, oh God, I was like 10 or 11 when this was becoming a very serious thing in the country.
Yeah.
And it was a period where my mom was afraid for us if we went outside of where we lived at the time. Like, just going to
Mhm.
visit another area, because we didn't know anything about San Diego still. We'd been here a few years, but we stuck to the areas we went to, and that was it. We didn't go outside of those areas because
Right.
of the amount of hate we got just moving into San Diego. I don't know if I ever told you this. Within a year of moving into housing in Terrasana, our home got broken into, and let's just say there was a nice note left for my mother specifically.
About racism.
Yeah. And
Yeah. I'm
from,
I'm pretty sure I remember hearing something about it one
yeah,
time or another.
it's one of the reasons
But
why my mom for years would, like, if we didn't lock the front door, oh, the beatings we would get for such a
yeah.
simple action. But it was because my
Yeah.
mom was so afraid of something happening when my
Yeah.
dad was gone. Over time, that got a little relaxed more as she
Mhm.
got more comfortable with things, and me and my brothers got bigger, and I got to be where I was, and so she was like, it's not such a big issue. But
Yeah.
that being said, it was still something. And Eric, to this day, walks in, locks the front door, and he doesn't even
Yeah.
know why he does it. He doesn't do it because he's trying to secure. Well, now he does it because he's trying to secure his apartment. He lives in a shitty ass neighborhood. But when we lived in nice areas, he'd still lock the front door, even if, like, you know, I remember when we lived in Lemon Grove, we barely used the front door. He and I would always go through my room and go through the garage because that's where his car was. And he would still, when he get home, would walk through the garage, go through my room, go out, walk all the way to the front door, and lock it still. And I'm like, did you just go lock the front door? Yeah. And that's all I could do, because it's like it didn't register until a few years later. It's like, oh, that's why you do it.
Yeah.
So, mind you, I was like 23 at the time, and I still was like, why? This is dumb, but whatever.
Yeah.
But of course, it eventually
Habits,
made
man.
sense. Yeah, and it's like I get
Yeah.
it now more than ever, because now I find myself doing it. It's like, and it's one. I am a Latino living in Montana. I don't have to worry about that kind of stuff, because if someone tries to mess with me, they're gonna mess with Kim, and they're gonna mess with Elliot. And if you mess with Kim, you're already asking for trouble. But Elliot has made a lot of friends, if you will. So, yeah, it would not be a good idea. And these people don't care. these are the kind of people that I'm like, yeah, I'm glad I got you watching my back.
I know you felt that way when you lived here too. Yeah,
Oh
for
yeah,
somehow, some way, some miracle on this planet, you happen to find the friends throughout your entire time of me knowing you, that there's always somebody, I guess, now who's always been willing to watch your family's back. Like knowing Dave. I know that's Dave. Like, that's the kind of person he is. And I know that because that's the kind of person I am.
yeah,
And Dave and I were best friends. I mean,
yeah.
zero love lost for that guy. Like, he and I in our friendship relationship right now is, it is what it
Non-existent.
is. Yeah, but that's not by my choice. I was trying to help him, and he didn't see it that way. So he hated me for it. He kind of resented where I was going, even though it wasn't the same spot he thought it was. It's just how he took it. He interpreted it a certain way that it wasn't meant to be, but whatever. Um, I love that dude. And if he were to tell me, hey, I now realize, like, looking over all this time, that's not what your intentions were, and I'm sorry that that's how I took it. And we carried an actual conversation about what really was meant to be and why. He would know that there's zero love lost for that dude, and that I love him, and that I will always love him, and I will always have his back. But I want him to understand that if he wants space and peace, I'm going to give him space and peace. Like you, for example, if somebody were to come into your house, it's the same scenario. If they were to go into his house, if somebody were to come into your house and say, "I'm going to kill you," you get one phone call before you die, and you were to call me, I'm going to make it my biggest effort to get there before you hang up that phone. You know what I mean? Like that's who I am. Like you can talk to dead air while I'm coming, but I'm
I know.
make my point to get there.
I know you're that type of person, dude. You've always been that way. And that's
And
why
for some
that's one of the
miracle
things
way,
that
you
made
happen
it.
to get that in your life a lot.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, it's like I don't need someone watching over me. I've never needed that. I've always
No,
been the
but
guy
your
that,
household, your family, your life.
yeah, like the people I care about that can't defend themselves. Like
Yeah.
heaven forbid, and this is one of my biggest fears, and this came to light in 2020. I don't know if I talked to you about this. I don't even know if Eric told you about this. Back in 2020, and it was like right before my birthday. So right after my dad went in the hospital, the riots broke out in San Diego, and just up the road, maybe even 3 minutes driving from Eric's place, one of those protests, those riots broke out, and the crowd had started to head in the direction of Eric's apartment. I didn't find out about it until the morning after. And I immediately, like, I didn't even hesitate, immediately called my nieces and nephew because I couldn't get a hold of Eric because he was at work. And I talked to them and I'm like, you guys okay? You guys have any problems last night or anything? And it's like, no, people were just being really loud and stupid. And I was like, all right, as long as you guys are okay, that's all I care about. And then I finally got to talk to Eric about it, and he's like, dude, I came home right as that stuff was happening, and I was home throughout all of it. And I stood by the door with a bat and a knife in my pocket just in case. And I'm all, yeah, I wish I was in San Diego right now, you know.
Yeah.
And I told my dad that. I got to talk to my dad like maybe a few days after that, and I told him about what happened, and he gave me this look. Mind you, my dad was in nursing home at this point, and he wasn't in the best of shape, but he heard me very clearly, and he looks at me with this look that says, you need to get to Eric. You need to get home. And I just kind of told him, I said, you know, as soon as I saw that look, I'm like, they're fine. The issue is resolved. Don't need to worry about it. I just wanted you to know that this happened and that they're all okay and they're going to get better and everything's going to be fine. If something happens, I'll head home. And he just kind of nods, and that was it. And because I couldn't go visit him, so we had to video chat, and so someone had to hold the video, the thing for my dad.
This is during the COVID time.
This is like at the height of the whole COVID stuff, like right after COVID happened. My dad went into the hospital, and then from there he was supposed to go get physical therapy. I won't get into it any further than that, at least not on stream, because I'll tell you privately.
Yeah. No,
but,
you're good. You're good.
But yeah, so he ended up being stuck in the nursing home for a while, and so like I said, this happens. Like he hadn't even been in the nursing home in a full week when this happened, and it took me a couple days to get a hold of him. When I finally got a hold of him, I tried to talk to him on the phone, but he couldn't hold the phone, so they had to do a video chat, and he only talked to me for like maybe 3-4 minutes, but I was able to get that out and then let him know that me and Elliot were fine. But yeah, he gave me that look like, yeah, you need to go take care of your brother. And I'm like, no, Eric's good. I know Eric was going to be fine, but talking to Eric, he's like, I wish you guys had been here, because then I wouldn't have had to worry. And I understand that, dude. Because going even further back, there was a shooting that happened. I don't know if you heard about this. Like the apartment we were living in the same complex at the time, but our apartment got hit with bullets. And Eric's apartment is just right over there. You know, like it's literally that close that I could walk there in less than 60 seconds if I wanted to.
Right.
And so I was worried, and I went over there. Like I checked on Elliot, I checked on my dad, and mind you, I had a bullet. Like I was laying in bed, bullets like that far over my head. About that far over my head, went through the wall. I'm laying down in bed. I'm like, what the hell was that? I look up and I'm all, yep, that's a bullet hole. And you could see where it went through the outside wall and then went through the inside wall. And then I go out into the living room, I didn't see anything when I first looked in my dad's area, but after a second look, I'm like, oh, yeah, that bullet, if my dad had been sitting at his desk, my dad probably wouldn't be here right now if he stood up. So,
Yeah,
because
no
it
doubt.
was literally right there. But I checked on Elliot, my dad. My dad was in the bathroom, which was hilarious to me. And Elliot, dead to the world. Just like, gone, dude.
Just
I
asleep.
Yeah, he was gone. I go running out the door, run over to my brother's, and I like knock on the door. Katie was still awake, and I'm like, "Are you guys okay?" And she's all, "Yeah, we're fine." And I'm all, "Did you hear it?" She's like, "Yeah, I heard it." So, and then she asked like, "Are we okay?" And I go, "Yeah." Bullet went through our wall, and she's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah, fun times." So
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff.
yeah, but
All good things. All
so
good things.
these are all times that have happened, and I like when that incident happened, I was able to be there, go check on them, and there have been other
Right.
little things, nothing to this level, but little things that I was able to go run over there and check on Katie and the kids when Eric wasn't home. With
Right.
us being in Montana, that sense of security for Eric's been gone. But the thing he doesn't realize is that he could call one of like 50 people and they would just be there.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure he knows that there are people that he could call. And at the same time, if there was any issue, Katie knows that she could call me too. Like she comes into the stream and she says hi. We talk, and every once in a while we send text messages to each other. And you know, like it's important to know that if something happens, there are people that are always looking out for you.
yeah, and that's
And
my
I mean,
thing.
I'm
It's
sure
like,
they know. I'm pretty sure they know.
for me, I knew. When we were leaving, I knew if something ever happened, if Eric did make the phone call, I could make a phone call and business would get
Yeah.
resolved. That's
Yeah.
simple. You know, it's like I've got 4 people on my phone right now I could call. One of them, yeah, he wouldn't be of any help anymore, but I could still give him a call and he could probably call
Yeah.
somebody. But yeah, no, I have a very short list of people I know I could call to check on my brother and Katie, which boggles my mind why he wants to move to Texas, but that's a whole nother story for another time.
Right. No, I mean, when it comes to Texas, there's been times that I looked at it like, Texas. I know people
I
in
will say this,
Texas.
I'm glad Texas isn't suffering like they did last year.
Yeah.
That was nuts. And mind you, it's gotten cold as hell there, but it hasn't gotten to the point it was last year where it was literally the state froze over. So that's a good
I
sign,
mean,
you know?
that happened to New York on a regular basis.
Yeah. But New York's equipped for that. Like literally they're like, "All right, here it comes. Oh, there
Not
it is."
always.
That's true. Not
Not
always.
always.
That's very true.
It got so cold on the East Coast, last year or 2 years ago, that
2019.
people who didn't expect it to be cold, like it was cold, like their pipes froze.
Yeah.
Like they were like, no, it's never been this cold, and things that would normally we'd use to keep heated are frozen.
Yeah.
Like people died.
Yeah, I remember that. That was in 2019. That was literally I remember sitting there watching the news and I'm like, "What the hell is going on?" And I
Yeah,
had to
I'm
look
all
into it and I'm like, "Oh, this is a
the day
phenomenon
after
that does
tomorrow.
happen." Yeah, that's
The
what I
Day
thought
After
was
Tomorrow
happening.
movie. That's exactly
Yeah.
what crossed my mind. Oh God. If it makes its way from the East Coast, it keeps moving west like it's doing,
It lasted for
it's going to get to California.
yeah, that oh, I won't lie. I'm going to sit here and say this point blank. I thought that was going to happen this year to you guys, and it still might.
Yeah.
Fair warning, it might still happen. So, be prepared.
Well, everything is saying that this winter is supposed to be, or was supposed to be, our warm winter. Like no rain, no nothing. Like it's very, very minimal. It's El Nino winter. Where? Oh, excuse me.
Yeah.
That's a big thing they were saying, is that it was supposed to be our warm winter.
Yeah, that's I
Hey,
won't
so
lie.
back to the thoughts. Back to the thoughts real quick when it came to that Microsoft purchase.
Mhm.
More and more parts of me is wondering, with all of the old school games that they're bringing back. Like if you ever look, they have like the arcade classics,
Yeah.
family fun night kind of stuff was on the Wii, but it's all like old school games.
Yeah.
Do you think that they'll start taking requests for games? Or do
No.
you think they'll just do like a mass upload of
I
these are
think
all the
they're
games
gonna
that came out
do.
on basic Xbox? Here you go.
What I think is going to happen is they're not going to bring out. They're not going to just simply remaster them. I think what they're going to do is they're going to create an updated IP, and what that means is like Modern Warfare. You saw what they did with the original Modern Warfare. They did a remastering of it, but then they completely redid the game using the same characters essentially, but they completely redid it. That's what they're going to do. They're gonna completely reinvent the game and the story. Kind of like what they did with Sly Cooper a few years ago, where Sly Cooper was this way, and then they brought it forward in time, and they gave it a whole lot of story, and they gave it more mechanics. And I see that happening with some of these older titles, these older games. They're going to bring them forward and make them more modern, if you will. But I can still see them remastering some of the old games and bringing those forward. But we'll see what they actually end up doing, because at this point, it's all... I wouldn't say speculation, because they have confirmed that they are planning to do this, but they haven't said anything specific just yet. So it's all kind of like, yeah, we're going to do it. We just don't know what we're going to do and when we're going to do it. And exactly how that's going to look, we'll find out over time.
See, I ask because there are games out there that they've done. Like, for example, Tony Hawk, Pro Skater 1 and 2.
They did the
Old school
remaster
games,
recently of that.
Old school games remastered for the Xbox One, right here. My wife bought it, and it came with the skateboard deck, and I've been playing it. Problem is it has a multiplayer option.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've gone to a party, can't figure out how to skate with my friend. Thing number 2 is why I'm asking is because my wife said this is a lot like Tony Hawk Pro Skater, but I haven't had a chance to play it, and I'd really like to, and it's not backwards compatible right now.
Which one?
Kelly Slater's Pro Surfer.
Oh.
It's Xbox, but it's not backwards compatible. It is Activision, though, however. That's the new purchase.
Yeah.
So it makes me wonder.
It's a good possibility that they could do a remaster of that. And if they do the same thing they did with the Tony Hawk remaster that they recently did, it'll probably be better than it was, but we'll see. I mean, you also got to consider this. I've heard of that game, but it wasn't as big as Tony Hawk, so...
Well, no, because Tony Hawk himself is huge, and Kelly Slater is huge, but he's a different circuit. Like, he's a surfer. So if you're in the beach scene like I have been almost my entire childhood,
true,
you know who Kelly Slater is.
I know who Kelly Slater is. You
do. Yeah. And he was Tony Hawk big. He was in TV shows. He was Tony Hawk big.
Now, this is not trying to be a screwed up or an asshole comment. Is he still relevant today?
No.
Then that's probably why you wouldn't see it.
Not to the level of Tony Hawk.
Yeah.
But Matt Hoffman's the same way. You know his name, right?
Yeah, but he's not nearly at the same level. I know. He is
still
relevant.
He is Tony Hawk big. He is just BMX.
Yeah.
Tony Hawk is a skater, and skater is where it's at. I mean, freestyle skating made it to the Olympic Games.
Yeah. That might be another reason why.
You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, you have to consider it. For the longest time, it wasn't considered a sport, but over time, when you look at the reality of it, skating is not just something that, you do.
Oh, no.
You actually have to... It takes a lot of dedication and skill and practice, and it's not something you can anyone can pick up. And it's not like it was when we were like little kids, where you get on your skateboard and just ride to the next area. Now,
it's a whole other world.
It's a whole, exactly.
So is surfing, and surfing, I feel
but
is an
surfing's
Olympic
been a
game
big
and
deal.
has been.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So like, if Kelly Slater would have done like Tony Hawk did and actually put into the community and not disgrace like anything, I don't know if he has, but just saying, like, if he'd put back in, his name would have been a lot bigger.
Yeah.
He tried to make a TV and acting career, and it didn't really take off, and then he kind of just gave up. But I know he put into a little bit of surfing, but that's really all he did. I think he had a clothing line at some point too, but I don't know what it was called.
I got nothing for you on that one. But no, I mean, I don't know. Looking from a business standpoint, I could see a Matt Hoffman BMX game coming out, possibly a remaster of that. The Kelly Slater.
Probably not.
If there's an audience for it that would be large enough to justify the cost of making it, then they do it. But if that audience doesn't exist, there's your answer.
Yeah, it probably won't become a game. BMX though might, because of the new Xbox game that just came out. I'm trying to remember what it was called. I almost bought it.
I know it wasn't. I don't think it was just on Xbox, but I know what you're talking
like-
about. There was a game that was scheduled, and it kind of was like X Games on steroids. It felt like it looked really cool. It reminded me of SXX, like Tricky, like that game. I want to buy that game, and I don't. From my understanding, that was not an Xbox exclusive. If it was, well, then shit. There goes my plan. But but I mean, it looked really cool, and that's the kind of game I would like. Like I would like something that's not just skateboarding. Like I've never been a big fan
Riders
of
Republic. That's what it was called.
Yeah,
Riders Republic.
I think that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I just Googled it.
I just know it was
it's
announced
called
at
Riders
E3
Republic.
last year. That's all I know about it.
Yeah.
And I thought,
And
it
like
looked cool.
I seriously, I almost bought it, pre-ordered it. And then it came out, and I'm like, I kind of want to buy it. But I watched the trailers, and I see it, and I'm like, dude, if this is anything like Skate turned into, I don't want to buy it.
Oh yeah.
And I keep watching the trailers and all the stuff on it, and a lot of people like it, but there's a lot of people who are like, what? But there's so much to that game that, like, there's hang gliding, there's BMX, there's snowboarding, there's freestyling, there's competition, there's like, it's so much. And every single thing you do in the game gives you points toward a character that you're building within the game.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, like that's cool, but I don't have time for that.
Yeah, that's the thing I think a lot of game makers forget. And as someone who does have like way more time to game, even I am now more than I was before, limited with the amount of time I have to play video games. But I mean, there are some games out there that just have like require damn near 24 hours of like play constantly to stay competitive in the game, and it's like that's not worth it.
Yeah. And it's all because the aspect of the younger generation, like 18, 19 years old, graduated high school. They are now streamers and have made a name for themselves by playing, 10, 12, 14-hour days and getting good. And now that you have an audience built, and now they can change games and just, you know what I mean? And they start young because there's a lot of young kids who like to watch young kids play games.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like nobody wants to watch a 40-year-old guy play video games.
That's not entirely true.
Unless they're like pro level.
No, not
You know
even
what I
that.
mean?
There are people on Twitch right now that are in their 30s, 40s, and hell, there's some guys in their 50s, and they have an audience, and it's just they play the games they play, and the people that watch them enjoy what they're making, what they're doing, and they find them entertaining, and that's all it takes. You just have to be, you have to engage with your audience. You have to be more than just, don't just sit there and play a video game, and know what the heck you're doing.
Right.
You know, like that's the other important thing. Know what the heck you're talking about. Don't just sit there and yammer on like, oh, in my day.
Yeah.
That'll get you.
I walked up 5 miles of snow, back and forth, both uphill.
Dude, I remember hearing that crap when I was a kid. My dad actually told me that. Because he lived in Kentucky, so he actually did have to do that at one point. And I asked him, I was like, years later, I'm all, did that actually happen? He goes, yeah, one time. And I'm all, you told me that happened like every day.
All the time.
And he's all, yeah, but it got you to do what I wanted you to do.
Yeah, right.
So
thanks, Dad.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I was like, fuck you, old man. But no, in all seriousness, I miss those stories from my dad, dude. And you still have your dad, right?
Yeah.
You still have your mom too,
both
right?
My parents, both my parents are here. My wife, however, Jill, her dad passed away right after we got pregnant with Clifton.
Yeah.
So he was alive, like on his way out when she told him, and it was almost like he held on long enough to know that that his baby was going to have a grandbaby for him, and then it was time to let go. But he waited till everybody had a chance to say bye, which is nice.
Yeah.
And her mom, she still has her mom, but her mom has got a lot of stuff going on too.
Yeah.
I mean, my parents are fighting with physical pain and things like that, like going through surgeries and stuff, but they're both retired and trying to live the best lives, you know?
Are they still living in San Diego? Like, or did they
Yeah.
move? Okay.
No, so they were in San Diego, moved to Arizona, moved to uh, Oregon, moved back to Arizona, moved to San Diego. You know what I mean? Like what's gonna work best?
So they've been all
And
over
now
the
I
place and then some.
yeah, I feel like if I were to move out of state, whether it be Colorado or Vegas or not Vegas, but Nevada, so Colorado or Nevada or Texas or New Mexico, Idaho, like wherever I go, yeah, Idaho, what? They would follow. You know what I mean? Like they'd be like, okay, this is where my kids are. This is where the grandbaby is. Let's go to.
Yeah.
Um, now, the weird thing is like if my brother were to move, I don't know if they would follow my brother. I feel like they would follow me though.
Yeah,
Maybe
probably.
that's just the young conceited side of me saying I'm the baby. They would definitely follow me coming out to play, but
Yeah,
I don't know.
I will admit this. When we moved to Montana, and I've talked to you about this at least once, Eric was not thrilled about us leaving, me, Dad, and Elliot. And he made it very clear that he blamed me for everything that was going on to the
Of course
point
you do.
where for over 2 years that we've lived here for 3 years, mind you. For the first 2 years, he absolutely just hated me because he thought it was all my fault and I'm the reason we moved. Well, then my dad gets sick, so that just made it worse. But over the last year, his and my relationship has gotten a lot better to where it was. It was back to about where it was before we left. But me and my dad both tried to convince him, like, dude, the cost of living here is so much better. You could have a fucking house. And his response was, I don't care. And I eventually let off. My dad, nope. Damn near with his dying breath, I guarantee you, he would have been like, move to Montana. No. But
Well, there's more to it than that, though. You know, I
yeah, and
mean,
in Eric's
you got to
situation,
deal with weather. You got to have a
yeah,
job lined up. Like, there's a lot.
I know.
There is a
And
lot.
the realistic side of it is Eric probably could have just made an easy transfer. Right now, God's honest truth, if Eric and Katie decided, you know what, we're gonna do it. We're gonna move to Montana. They both would have jobs not only waiting for them, but they'd probably get more per hour if they came here, just because those companies. Because Eric, the company he works for, they're based here too.
Are
Katie's
they?
Starbucks everywhere. So I mean,
Dude.
but
Yeah.
they both
But see,
could
that's the,
easily get a job like right now from doing that.
yeah. I say, but that's the thing too, though, is like making a transfer from San Diego going to Montana. They're gonna change the wages. They're gonna
But
wage
that's the thing.
match.
That's the thing. They would absolutely right now, because I know for a fact Starbucks is offering like $20 an hour for a shift lead, and that's what Katie is. I don't know if she's getting that. I don't think she's getting that much in San Diego, but she could get that here. Eric would easily get 19, $20 an hour for being a guard. And it's like, dude, for
You'd
me,
be
it's a no
shocked.
brainer.
Being a guard does not pay $19 an hour. I don't even care if you're a supervisor. Like
If you're an armed guard
being
in Montana, you can make up to $30 an hour.
can can.
Yeah. And right now, most people are getting that because they just can't find anybody. Which is funny
Yeah.
to me because I applied at
Um.
both places and got told, kiss a kick
So
rocks. So,
here in San Diego, being a security guard, you'd be lucky to find a job that starts at $16 an hour. The supervisors in security here, you'd be lucky to find one that makes $18 an hour.
yeah.
Being an armed guard in San Diego, you'd be lucky to find one that starts at $19 an hour. Being a supervisor that's an armed certificate, you'd be lucky to find one that starts at $20 an hour.
Yeah.
Yes, it's $1 difference.
Yeah.
Like it's awful.
It's insane, the pay scale and the pay structure, just in general.
And I can't see Montana making more money than San Diego when it comes to starting wages.
When it comes to the security, I was back in beginning of December, I started looking for a job because I didn't know if I was going to be able to stream, and I couldn't find anything. Like, I applied at Walmart, I applied at Target. Because I've been unemployed for so long, no one wants to take a chance on me right now. Even now, when they're desperate, 100%. They're like, you've been unemployed way too long. Like, even with an explanation, it's like they don't want to take the chance. And I don't blame them. Yeah. But it made the situation more difficult than it needed to be. But I was looking into that stuff, and I was talking to people, and I was told by the security company, I don't want to say which one it is, I was told by the security company here, if I applied, this was a couple months ago, I was told if I apply, they would start me at $20 an hour. They had a site ready to go. They needed someone. This was the pay scale for that site. And all I had to do was fill out the forms, fill out the application, get the guard card, and that was it. Okay, cool. Well, 3 months later, I call them to verify they still need someone. They tell me yes. I fill out the application. Heard back right before Christmas, finally, that they are interested in hiring me, but because of my, massive unemployment level for being unemployed for so long, they're like, yeah, we don't know if we want to take a chance on you for that. And I'm like, that's fine. I respect that. It's like, I get it. Like, I'm not an idiot. I understood that was a risk I was going to have to take, but I still needed a job. So now I'm just like, I got to figure something out quick. And here I am.
Yeah. And that's the funny part to me is when it comes to employment or unemployment is I know people who have been unemployed for a long time. And when they came to find a job, they weren't getting a job. Exactly like how you're describing now.
Yeah.
And it is. Businesses look at it and they go, oh, this person hasn't had a job in years. That means they're just here for that quick fix. And then as soon as they get the money they need, they're out. F that. I'm not going to take the time it takes to train them and, start to rely on them just to have them bail when either A, things get harder than they expect it to be, or B, when they no longer, quote, need the job, they're out.
Yeah. And then unfortunately with inflation the way it is right now, you have a lot of people looking for jobs that are going to give them enough money to where they can survive. And yeah, there are companies that are coming out saying, look, you'll make this much, come do this. There's, come do this, you'll make this much, so on and so forth. And that's great. And here, there's freaking Walmart apparently just boosted their starting wages. Someone's sneezing. They started the starting wages for their online pickers is I don't know if this is true. This is hearsay. Bless you. Anyways, it's $20 an hour right now. And I'm all, dude, I want that job. I mean, you work for 8 hours.
No, you don't.
Well, I've done it before, dude. That's the thing. I've done it. It's really not that hard. It's really not. It's
definitely not that hard. But who the hell wants
monkey
to make an 8-hour job of shopping for people literally all day? That sounds awful.
I did that, so I don't
mind.
Yeah,
that sounds awful. It sounds awful. I understand that you've done it, and it sounds awful.
It gets real grindy. And with Walmart having the whole, order online, you can either come pick it up or we'll deliver it to you. It would be a lot more convenient for me because then I don't have to wait for this person to show up. My job's done as soon as I've picked the items. I just put it in a bin and then walk away from it for the most part. And so it makes it that's why I was more willing to do it, because as the shopper, your job is to shop, period. You go out there, you pick up the orders, you pull them, and then someone comes and picks them up and takes them, or they come and pick them up and take it, and it's done. But of course, I find out over time that as part of my duties, I would have to both shop and load someone's car, and I'm like, I don't want to do all that. No. Because you don't make tips. You can't take tips doing this. It's that sucks.
I'll pick your groceries off the shelf for you, but I won't put them in your car.
Fuck no, I don't want to put them in your car. I'm already in Walmart. I don't want to go I don't want to I will admit, knowing the numbers of COVID cases in Montana and in Billings right now, I'm like, dude, I would not want to be working anywhere right now just because, yeah, mind you, it's highly likely before the end of this year, me, my brother, and Kim are going to get COVID. I hope against it, but it's highly likely. As it is, I know that next month I got to get stuck in the arm again. So that'll be fun.
I just got my booster shot, and I then got sick a week later, and it was all the same symptoms of the COVID virus that has been going around lately, and that in itself is a trash situation. But I tested. Clifton got tested. Trey, I don't think we tested him, but I know we tested Clifton, and everybody who tested in the house tested negative.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, but it's all the same symptoms, which is like, okay, yep. I mean, COVID is the next cold. Let's do what we need to do and just move on.
I think the thing is what people, yes, it is very much going to be here forever now. Like anyone who thinks it's going to go away, forget it. It's not. They're not going to kill it. It's the new common cold, like you said. However, the thing is, unlike the common cold, which, you know, a little snuffy, you know, a little stuff, sick or whatever, no big deal.
Oh, people have died from it.
Yeah. But COVID is like 10 times, it's like 100 times worse because of what it can do to your body if you don't have a vaccination in your system or the booster or whatever. Yeah. And that sucks that that's going to be the new norm for a while for some people. But you have a choice. You can risk death or you can stay alive. I personally would rather be alive, and so I'll get stuck in the arm and deal with all that fun stuff.
Yeah, well, there are people who can't get stuck in the arm either,
and then that's true.
Because ingredients.
You know? Yeah,
which is why the virus will never go away. You know what I mean? Like there are enough people out there who are A, anti-vax, and B, who just can't do the vax. That when the virus hits, it's going to hit them hard, which is then going to spread whether you're vaccinated or not. The vaccination doesn't stop you from getting it. It helps your immune system.
Fight
it helps your immune system not make you die when you get it, which is why it's going to stay around forever. People, they don't adhere to the rules of what government wants you to do because who wants to be told what to do? Big Brother shouldn't be able to tell me what I can and cannot do. It is what, you know.
And while I will agree a little bit, there is a point where I
know what I'm going to do.
Yeah. To me, it's like I'm at a point where it's like, look, you make the choice for yourself and for your family, but understand that if you make a choice that could be detrimental to others, just be civil about it and be like, look, here's my choice, but here's what I'm going to do so that I don't endanger anyone else. That's all I would ask. It's just a little bit of freaking like understanding of the danger of this, but that's not going to happen.
No, they're definitely not going to happen. If people would at least prevent themselves from putting other people at risk, it would go a lot easier.
Yeah,
like I get it
in
the aspect of you don't want somebody to tell you how to live your life. I get it, dude. You don't want to be masked. You don't want to be vaccinated. I get it. Okay, I get it. But if you know that this could put somebody at risk, like there are people out there who feel the same way. They just can't. They physically can't do what you're refusing to do. Why would you want to go around them in the first place?
Yeah.
At least if you see other people who are not wearing their mask, keep your distance. Even if you see people who are wearing a mask, keep your distance. Sure, you don't want to be that guy, but stay the fuck away from me. Keep your 6 feet away. If I so much as hear you cough or sneeze in my general direction, I want to punch you in the face.
Yeah.
And that's not something I like to feel. No. It's just a way that I feel most of my life. And, like legit, I want to put that on like on a shirt and wear it out and about every day. If you're not masked, stay 6 feet away.
There actually is a shirt. There is a shirt.
I don't care if you don't wear a mask. Like that's your choice. I don't care. Sometimes I don't wear a mask. That's my choice.
Yeah.
But when I'm not wearing a mask, I make it a point to stay the fuck away from people.
Yeah. I will admit I do that whenever we go out. Unless we're going around Kim's family, when I go outside, I try to keep my distance or, just be respectful of others, especially if I see someone wearing a mask. I don't sit there and mock them. It's like, cool, I get it. This guy wants to stay safe. I respect that. I will still keep my distance whether he's wearing a mask or not. It's like, I'm not wearing one. If I'm wearing a mask, I'll be a little more okay getting closer, but I'll still keep like 3 feet between me and them. I'm not going to get right up in his business.
Yeah, no, I remember when you and I first met, that's kind of the person that you were anyway.
Yeah.
I was always like I'm close and personal with you. Like I want to be like if I have something to say to you, and I don't want the person's literally next to you to hear me, I'm not gonna be afraid to come in and talk to you.
Oh yeah.
And I remember being that kind of conversation of, hey, I've got this I want to say to you real quick. Let me just, blah, 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 blah. And you're always like, bro, you're too fucking close. Just inch. Give me an inch, man. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I remember those days. Like, I
Back then,
remember that.
dude, you got to remember though. Back then, when we first met, and I don't know if I've ever talked about this with anyone. I don't even know if I mentioned this to you. You and all those guys, because I don't want to name names. You guys were like the first people in over a decade of my life that I actually called friends, that I had come to my house, that I spent time with, that I socialized with, that I interacted with on anything other than just like a, hey, how's it going? You know? And so it was so new and raw to me that it was like, not used to this. And over time that went away, but for at least a good 3 or 4 years, I just still was like,
Yeah.
So, and there are people like, I've met people like that now, and I'm like, I get it. I fully understand it. If you need space, just tell me. I'll back the hell off real quick. Like, I get it. You know, I've been in your shoes. But with COVID, dude, I won't lie. For the last, I'd say 10 years, maybe more, I've been at home every day, all day. Like, so when COVID hit, I was like, nothing new. Like, literally, it was like, all right, it's Tuesday.
Unfortunately, there are other people that I know that were the exact same way.
Yeah.
It is what it is. It's fine. Whatever.
But
I get you.
But there are people like yourself who like to go out and do things and go off and be in the world and socialize and go places, go see things, go to movies, so on and so forth.
Right.
And I felt for them because it's like, dude, this sucks.
Oh, dude, I had, I think, $150 worth of movie tickets when all of this started. That all went like complete to waste.
Yeah.
Like, forget about that. That's gone.
There was no way for you to get that like refunded or anything. That's BS, dude. That's
no, all that's toast.
That. Yeah, as it was, I talked about this last week. I was going to go see Spider-Man. I think we were filmed the podcast on Thursday last week, Thursday or Friday. No, it was Friday. We did it on Friday. And I remember I went to go see the movie. Dude, I was expecting a packed house. Nobody there. Completely
it was like
empty.
2 people, 3 people.
Yeah. It was us.
It was like
it was me, Kim, and the kids from our youth group. And honestly, dude, it was nice. Even though the kids would get a little rowdy at points, it was still like real nice because it felt like I was just watching a movie at home. I made the comment to Kim, I'm like, we need to go see more movies. As long as it's like this, we need to go see more movies.
100%. That's how it was here. We went to watch Spider-Man. We also had the ability to rent out the movie theater in Poway. Like that's just the way that they were running their system. Was you want to watch this movie, you can rent the theater out for $120, depending on the movie, even more if it was a new movie. But it didn't matter, new, old. Like we rented out the theater to go watch Back to the Future.
Oh, nice.
At least I think it was Back to the Future.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's Back to the Future. Anyway, but it was the whole theater, and there was 3 families in there. Mine, my wife's sister, and her best friends.
Yeah.
My kids legit ran amok in the theater. They sat down for all of maybe 5 minutes.
That's
and they were
that's
like,
freaking funny to me, dude.
I don't even care. Just don't get in front of the screen.
That's hilarious. But no, like that's an option here. Like you can rent out the theater. But we didn't have to do that, thank goodness. But it's like it's insane that that's what the film movie industry has gotten to at this point, is that most everything is coming out digitally and people just aren't going to the theaters. And it makes me a little sad because as much as I've become a guy who prefers to watch movies at home, I will buy a projector and watch movies at home because when I see a movie, I want to see the movie and I want to have my reactions. I don't want to hear everybody else when certain things happen. That being
Right.
said, there are some movies, like I remember watching Attack of the Clones in theaters when that movie was out. And when Yoda walked out and then flipped out that lightsaber, the whole place exploded. I won't lie. The adrenaline rush I got in that moment watching that scene was only duplicated when Avengers Endgame, when that battle scene started and the whole place exploded as people were coming out of the portals. That scene, like, I didn't even see it. I didn't even get to see it in theaters, but I saw that clip because it got posted to YouTube within like 24 hours. But seeing it, I was like, oh, I want that. I wish I could go to a movie to watch this. I'd go to a theater to see it. We just moved to Montana, and so that wasn't happening. But watching that moment, regardless whether I was there or not, I'm like, that's a moment I would want to see in a theater. But with COVID still being a thing, I'm like, I don't know if I'd be comfortable with that larger crowd in a theater right now.
Right.
It scares the shit out of me. Like, I really don't want to get it. I've probably gotten it, don't know it. But I just don't want to risk it. Like, it's just, maybe in like a year I'll feel more comfortable going to big gatherings. Like we went to Gabriel Iglesias 2 weeks ago.
What is it? Fat and fluffy? No. Sweet and fluffy? No.
I'm not fat, I'm fluffy.
Is that what it is?
That's what it is.
Okay.
That was the DVD. That was like his first DVD, I think it was. But
yeah,
it was funny as shit. And so they started late because they got out of I think it was Idaho or something like that. Anyone who knows me knows that's actually true. Anyways, but no. So he had a late getting out of Boise, and so they didn't open the doors until like literally 30 minutes before showtime. So they pushed the start back. He was scheduled to do, like, the show was supposed to be 2 hours. It went 3.5 hours long, and that last 45 minutes or so, whatever it was just him just chilling out. And dude, if you ever get a chance to see him perform, go. Just go. Enjoy yourself. It's worth it. It's. I wish I could go to the Dodger Stadium performance, because as weird as it sounds, mind you, everything I just said about big crowds and stuff, I still would love to be there for 3 reasons. It's a historical event. No comedian has ever sold out a stadium, and he's near done it.
I feel like Dane Cook did.
Dane Cook's never sold out a stadium. He's done a lot of
sure?
arenas. Yeah, Dane Cook's done arenas.
He did Madison Square Garden.
Madison Square Garden.
Arena?
That's an arena. A stadium would be like Petco.
Yeah, I just figure Madison Square Garden is the same size, if not bigger, than Petco.
Yes. Okay, so what is it? Dallas.
You know what I mean? Like,
it's in Dallas. It's the Cowboy Field or whatever it's called, AT&T Field or arena or stadium. AT&T Stadium. That thing's huge. Dodger Stadium is like 75,000 people can fit in that venue.
But I'm not talking about Dodger Stadium, all right? I'm talking about Madison Square Garden.
Yes, and
Madison Square Garden.
Madison Square Garden can only seat 35,000 people.
But how many seats is Petco?
Petco is, I think, it's either 40 or 45. I don't know, but Petco has probably got a little more seats than Madison Square Garden, believe it or not. Madison Square Garden is old as crap, and it was, for the longest time, the largest venue in the country and almost the world, but no. They lost that to the Tokyo Dome back in the late 80s or early 90s, somewhere on there, when the Tokyo Dome was completed.
All right. Petco Park has 42,445 seats.
Mm-hmm. What do we got for Madison Square Garden? What do you got on that one?
Madison Square Garden is where the hell? How many seats are in a row? No, that's not what I want. Madison Square Garden is 19,000 seats.
Yeah, I mean they can get it up to it if they add the floor, but yeah, it's a smaller venue than you think, dude. Like it's not as
I'm
big.
wondering though if that number is because of COVID numbers, because it says
That might be
today
because of
Madison Square
yeah,
Garden has a seating capacity of 19,000.
that might be because of COVID because they've narrowed the numbers down. It's probably closer to like 30,000 because I remember watching WrestleManias from Madison Square Garden and they've toted a attendance of like 30,000 people. So I
Yeah.
think it's yeah, but those were sellout venues. Like that was a sellout show. And it
Right,
was
but
still like 30
that's what the statement was. Is there's never been a comedian to sell out a stadium. So
Yes.
that's what made me wonder if Madison Square Garden, like I said, I know Dane Cook did it, and I know he sold out,
Yes, but Dane
and I
Cook
think
has
he
never
did like
done a
a
stadium.
4-day event.
Dane Cook
Right, but
has
right.
he's
No, I
done
get that.
arenas
I
and he's
I
done some
get it.
large arenas. Yes, he has.
I get it. But my thought was is if he played an arena that had 40,000 seats, and there's a stadium out there that has 40,000 seats, whether it's got the name arena or stadium, it doesn't matter. It's 40,000 butts and seats.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's
Most
selling out a stadium in my book.
I would agree. But again, where am I going with this?
I
I lost my train of thought. Dane Cook has done a lot of arena shows. He was the first major comedian to do that. I will give him that 110%. He's an amazing comedian. He's funny as hell to watch. But so you have the first major Latino comedian performing at a stadium, and it has an occupancy of like 60,000. Apparently, I don't know if that's true. That's what I've read. But if he sells it out, that would be historical because no comedian has ever done that. No comedian has ever performed at a stadium, let alone a sold out stadium, and been anything other than white or African American. Because I think Eddie Murphy and what's his name? He was a very famous comedian. He had a mustache. Typically,
Sinbad?
Not Sinbad. Older than
really?
Sinbad. Older than Sinbad. He was in. I think he was. I don't think he was in Blazing Saddles, but he was. He did a movie. Oh God, Richard Pryor. That's the one. Richard Pryor also has done some major shows.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I mean,
I could see him doing some big shows.
Yeah. So it's like, regardless, those Eddie Murphy, Richard Pryor, they set records when they were performing in front of audiences. Richard Pryor, of course, passed away, I think, a couple years ago. But I guarantee you, if Eddie Murphy did a stand-up right now, even with COVID, and he did his old material but modernized it and still was himself today, I guarantee you people it would sell out in a heartbeat. Just because the name recognition.
If he went to, say if he came here, I'd buy tickets.
Yeah.
I would like to see a Bob Saget one as well, though. So I mean, and it's got nothing to do with nationality or it's all based on their comedy.
You do know about what happened to Bob Saget, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish I could have seen him perform. I've only ever seen his stuff on YouTube. So I think I think he has a special out there that he did. I would love to see it because I enjoyed him in, Full House and Fuller House. I honestly can't think of anything else he did on television besides that, though. And I'm not trying to be an ass. I just don't know.
He was the host of America's Funniest Home Videos.
Oh, yep. I remember that one.
And there was some other stuff too, but like his biggest thing was Full House.
Yeah, and America's Funniest Home Videos, because he was the original host. And dude, it was when they changed host, I was like, change the channel, like zero hesitation, like nope, I'm done, because it just wasn't funny. And if they still have it out there,
it's actually pretty good.
I mean, it's probably gotten better. Because you have way stupider people in the world now than we did back then. But it just, I don't know.
I think Wayne Brady is the host.
I think he's
Wayne Brady is, right?
Yeah, Wayne Brady does so much. Dude, that dude is busy.
Amazing.
That dude is
is amazing. I love that dude.
Oh, man. I can't believe he and, what's his name? Drew Carey. Dude, they're hosts galore. Like, you want them for your show because you know it's going to be a good show if one of them is hosting it, because they do an amazing job. I still remember Drew Carey in the freaking, I think it was the 2001 Royal Rumble. He gets in there, he stands there for a second. Yeah, look at me. Then Kane comes out. Bye! Jumps over the top rope and gone. He was in the ring for all of like a minute. Funniest thing I've ever seen, and nothing has duplicated it. And he did it so well, though. And he smiled as he walked to the back. He's like, "Yep, I survived. See y'all later." But it was so good. And then this year, I know you don't follow wrestling anymore, but Johnny Knoxville is going to be in the Rumble.
In a long time.
Yeah, Johnny Knoxville is going to be in the Rumble this year, which I'm interested to see how that's going to go. I think it's this coming Sunday. Yeah, it's this Sunday. So I will probably be watching that.
Wow. He's not. The host is Carlton.
Oh, wow.
I thought it was Wayne Brady. It's not. It's Carlton.
Yeah. Alfonso.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alfonso Ribeiro, I think his name is.
Yeah.
Ribeiro. Yeah.
And have you heard about the remake of Fresh Prince they're doing?
No.
It's gonna be, they're doing it's not. I don't know if it's gonna be a comedy. It looks more like a drama, because it's based more on Will Smith's. Well, it's based more on Will Smith's actual life experiences, where Fresh Prince was based on it to a point, like the first season was, but after that, everything was completely like, ta-da, let's have some fun.
Yeah, and this is a story. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so the series they're coming out with is more based on Will Smith's real life, from the events that led to him going to Bel Air and everything after. I'm actually really interested in it, and I don't know if it's exclusively on Peacock, but I've seen it on Peacock. It's supposed to come out next month. The first episode's supposed to come out. So.
God damn it!
Like, did you ever see the revive Saved by the Bell?
I want to say no.
Oh, dude, you got to check it out. It's funny as hell. It doesn't. It's not the Saved by the Bell we watched as kids. You did watch it, right?
I did watch Saved by the Bell. What is it, like New Class or New Years or New something?
Yeah.
Like, I did watch the newer Saved by the Bell, but not recently. Yeah. Like, Dustin Diamond was in it.
That was
older.
So that was the New Class. That came out after the original cast left.
Yeah.
No,
is that what you're talking about?
No, there's a series that came out last year on Peacock. They just did their second season, and the whole thing is about it. Like, Mario Lopez is in it. Shannon Elizabeth is in it. I think that's right. I think that's what her name is.
Yeah. Jesse.
Yeah, they actually the second season. Spoiler here. They start off kind of addressing Dustin Diamond's passing. That happened after they, like, right as they wrapped production and were ending the first season, like airing the last episode of the first season aired. Same freaking week, Dustin Diamond dies. And that was, I don't know if it was related to COVID. I don't know if that's what happened. I generally don't know. I can't look into it, but they addressed it in the very first episode, I think, of season 2.
Season 2.
Yeah, it's really good. If you get a chance to check it out, I thought it was entertaining. There are a lot of people that thought it was stupid, that didn't like it. But as someone who watched that group of people do that show back in the day, to see them still acting just as dumb and as goofy and doing some of the same old bits, but they're not funny now, it's even better because they acknowledge it. Like, all right, that wasn't the reaction we were expecting. So it's hilarious to watch. Like, I don't know, and I'm not trying to spoil too much, but there's a scene in the newer series where the cast breaks out in the song and all the younger kids are just like, what is wrong with you? Like, It's awesome, dude. You got to check it out.
All right, I'll do that. And
then the revised Punky Brewster was pretty good. But yeah, I know we probably should wrap up here.
Yeah.
So, but all right, man. That was our episode for this week. Again,
yeah, it wasn't a replay of last week, but
no, no. And next week we will definitely have something more specific to talk about. This week really was going all over the place, which is ultimately the main concept of this show. But I want to thank JimmyG once again for joining me, I want to thank your audience for tuning in. I want to thank my audience for tuning in. We will be back next week with another episode. So until next time, you guys, adios. So, real quick, yes, that is the show for this week. Just a quick little wrap up. We do film these shows live on Twitch. They start at 6 p.m. Mountain, 5 p.m. Pacific, because I'm in Mountain Time and Jimmy's in Pacific, and that's why I... Anyways, 5 p.m. Pacific every Wednesday night. You guys can come and check us out, and hopefully you guys will do just that next week. We are filming these 100% live as of right now. There will be an episode here or there over the next few weeks, months, whatever, where we will either pre-record them or something. We're still figuring out all the refining of the show, and next week's episode will be just as good, if not better, production-wise, than this week's. Actually, I'm hoping for better. Not so much as is, but, better. But I just want you guys to know I'm having a lot of fun streaming over on Twitch right now. And if you guys want to come follow me, watch, hang out in the chat, whatever the case may be, I would greatly appreciate it. I miss doing this, and I miss you guys here on YouTube. Don't worry, I will eventually get back to creating some kind of YouTube exclusive content. But for right now, all of my energy and time is on Twitch. I'll see you guys again very soon for another one. Until next time, adios.